Hello there, I'm Heather. Thanks so much for joining me today for yoga. Today is a day in Canada to honor and take time to remember and listen to all the stories that we have experienced here on our lands with our Indigenous peoples. It's Truth and Reconciliation Day, a day to honor the past and also to move forward in more of a positive direction. I'd like to take time to honor the fact that we are on Treaty 1 territory here in Manitoba, or Stonewall, Manitoba, and that the land on which that we are here is the traditional gathering place of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and also the homeland of the Red River Métis Nation. One of the main Indigenous authors that has really inspired me and is Richard Wagnese. He's now passed away, but I just feel so blessed to have come across his work. One of the quotes by Richard Wagnese, I'd like to share it today, is, "We are story, all of us. What comes to matter then is the creation of the best possible story while we're here. You, me, us together. We change the world one story at a time." So if you'd like to come into a seated position, we're going to take a few moments just to sit in silence with our bodies, with our breath, with our heart opening in the space of allowance. So this time, what we're doing as we come into our yoga practice, we're allowing ourselves to come in towards our center, to gather all of our energies and to allow the mind to come into more of a focus on feeling. And we do so much thinking throughout the day, and we're starting to merge that a little bit more, moving from just thinking to feeling, moving from just doing to being, moving from the outer to the inner. And as you do this, just allow your body to relax everywhere. Start to focus on your breath, the beautiful wave-like movement that comes in and out of your body. Acknowledging, experiencing your breath and the magical substance that it is, keeping us here, alive. Breathing in, and you're bringing in that which you need most. And breathing out, you're releasing what you don't need anymore. Taking a slower, deeper breath in. Pausing at the top, and then a slow breath out. You can breathe out through your mouth if you'd like to help deepen that release of your exhalation for 2 more breaths. And as we sit, let's sit for we're going to sit for about a minute in a place of allowance. So we're just allowing our body and our mind to come together, for the heart to open, to feel that unconditional love that releases when you're in this space, sitting for a moment. And I'll read you another quote that goes really well with this space. So there is such a powerful eloquence in silence. True genius is knowing when to say nothing, to allow the experience, the moment itself, to carry the message, to say what needs to be said. Words are less important, less effective than feeling. When you sit in perfect silence with someone, you truly know how to communicate. Another quote by Richard Wagnese. From this place, gathered together, connected to body, breath, mind, and soul, we'll start to gently move, gently circling the head a few times, maybe just a half circle, to loosen up the head, the neck, releasing any tension in the jaw. And after circling, let's come back to center with the head and just simply moving it side to side, looking over one side, and then slowly shifting to the other side, looking over. Just continue that here. We'll come back to center. Starting to roll gently through your shoulders in one direction. And then the other direction. And we'll lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then slowly release them. We'll do that 2 more times. Then slowly release. We'll bring both arms up with the next inhale. And both arms release with your exhale. This time, just bringing one arm up, coming over. And then we'll release and we'll do the same on the other side, bringing one arm up and exhale it over. And one more time like that. Moving with your breath on the inhale, rising up. On the exhale, coming over. And inhale, coming up. Exhale over. And one more thing here. We're going to start with that other arm again. This time to bring it across to the opposite side. Sitting up nice and tall in your twist. Finding a spot to gaze at. And then we'll slowly release, come back to center. Before you do the other side, we'll do a little cat-cow. So opening your chest, shoulders roll back on the inhale. Exhale, belly in and shoulders round. One more breath like that, inhaling and exhaling. Good. Sitting up nice and tall in the center point. We'll bring that other arm across for the twist. Pausing here in your place, you determine where that place is in every position, where the beginning is. And when you feel ready to move, you can move a little deeper. When you're ready on your exhalation, slowly release, come back to center. One more cat-cow. Exhale, belly in. Inhale, opening the chest. Good. And then we'll come out of this position slowly. We can stretch. We're going to stretch out through the legs a little bit. So come onto all fours. And we'll take one leg back and just keep your toes curled under on the mat and stretch back through your heel. From this position, lift that leg. We're going to circle through the ankle. And then you can also make little circles with that entire leg. Great. Moving right from the hip. Opposite direction, just to loosen that up here. And then release. Before we go into the other side, we're going to go again into a little cat-cow, exhaling, arching your back, inhaling to look forward. And as you exhale, we'll do that one more time, lifting the belly, arching, and inhaling to look forward. Now centering your whole entire spine here in table position. It's also important, especially when we lift that leg, to keep your body centered, to keep your pelvis centered, your core engaged. So we'll get ready to do that, but just starting with a nice stretch through the calf and the ankle here, pushing back with the heel. Toes curled under on the mat. And then we're gonna lift that leg again. We don't want the lower back to sink. We wanna keep engaged through those core muscles. Circle the ankle. Holding that leg, good. And then just a little movement right for the hip here. Circling right from the hip, opposite direction. And then we'll release. We'll come out of this position for a moment just to do a bit of a wrist stretch. We'll turn the palms to face outwards and come down. You don't have to come down all the way, but whatever feels good. Coming back to table for one more pose here. And we're going to, one more movement, I should say. We're going to widen out through the knees a little bit further back, and we're going to circle the hips. And move nice and slowly through. When you're ready, we're going to switch directions, moving in the other direction. You can start with little circles, gradually widening out. And then if you'd like to sink right back into your child's pose, lower your head down if you can. If you're not lowering your head, you can just bring your arms in. You can even support your head with your hands here, or put a block or something underneath it. This pose reminds me of one of the 7 teachings, to learn all about humility. In order to learn about humility, we have to let go of what we think we know, who we think we are, and let go of the mind. So we try to do a lot of that. That's one of the main purposes of yoga, is to really let go of the ego. and just stay open. So if you'd like to transition, I've transitioned into a bit of a squat. Again, you can transition right onto your feet, but if you want to stay here for a moment, you can rock a bit from side to side in your legs. And then I'm going to slowly come up onto the feet, and we'll press down for a moment into the earth with our feet, keeping the knees bent. And then we're going to slowly stand up. And as we stand up, we're going to stand up with connecting downward through our feet and our legs. If you'd like to bend and straighten a few times through your legs and just feel them standing here strong on your mat, standing strong with purpose, and opening your heart center again, letting the shoulders roll back, and bring our hands together. And on your next inhale, slowly reach your arms up. And on the next exhale, as you release your arms, let's step the feet apart, come into star position, shining nice and bright right from the core of your being, outwards, reaching, expanding. With this position, physical position, our energy also expands outward. No more contracting or pulling in, restricting anything. We're just opening to all that is in ourselves, in our body. Let's turn our feet slightly out. We'll come down into a squat. We'll bring the elbows in. You can even do a little yoga, a little bit more of an expansion for the hands, the fingers, as you stretch them out. And breathing here. If you need to, you can come up and then come back into it. A few more breaths here, honoring your connection to the earth. This is a real earth pose. We'll slowly straighten the legs again, come back into star. And then we're going to turn the left foot out and we're going to come into triangle. So if you'd like to slowly come over, you don't have to go too far, but keep your legs straight for this one. Come over your leg, making sure your knee is centered and just reaching up with that other arm in the triangle pose. Good. From triangle, we're going to bend that front knee, come into side angle. So rest your arm against your thigh, reach through your arm here. And from that pose, we'll come back up, but let's keep the knee bent, release that arm and lift the other arm up and over. Beautiful stretch here. Reaching up. And then we'll release again, coming over, this time other arm lifting and then coming right over and down towards your left foot. And we're going to change our position here to come into a lunge. For the lunge, to start off here, let's bring that back knee down. Pausing here for a moment. And when you're ready, we're going to come back and balance ourselves in a upright lunge. With your next breath in, reach your arms up and over. Good. Stay here for one more breath. You decide how far you want to sink into it. And then on your exhalation, release. We're going to come into a twist. So if you want to, with your left foot forward, right hand down, left hand on your lower back, look towards the left. Keep your hips centered here. Try not to let them go into the twist. And then slowly come back to center. We'll lift up through this back foot or back knee, sorry. Look back, step back, downward facing dog. Good. From downward dog, we'll come forward in the plank, dropping the knees down in half plank. And then pulling your hips back in child's pose. From child's pose, we're gonna flow forward, keep your elbows kind of bent and kind of like you're gonna do a push-up, but more coming down with your head and your chest to graze your mat, and then just to slide out, pull out through your legs to come down onto your belly, rising up in the gentle cobra. Pausing here for a few breaths, active through your core. My hands aren't pushing down too much. I'm more lifted from my core. Breath here. On the exhalation this time, release. And prepare to come off the belly. So when you're ready, pushing your hands into the mat, sliding up. We're going to walk the hands in towards the feet, and we're going to transition to a standing forward bend. So if you want to come halfway up, and on your exhalation, release. Good, hanging forward for another moment. Planting your feet, bending your knees, slowly rising up, coming back to mountain pose. And from mountain pose again, we'll step towards the middle of the mat. We're going to come into mountain here. Again, just take a moment to bend and straighten through your legs. You can even keep the knees bent for a moment. Come into a little chair position. This just helps when we're active. We're active through our legs and aware of our legs and our feet. It helps to keep us grounded. Helps us keep us centered and strong within ourselves. So when you're ready, we're going to open, reach the arms up. Release, let the arms open. We're going to come back into the wide-legged position, the star pose. And then turning your feet out and bending your knees, we'll come down into this divine earthly goddess pose. When you're ready, you can straighten your legs and we'll come down one more time. And then when you're ready, we'll straighten again. We're going to reach out through the star. This time we're going to turn the other foot. So I'm turning now my right foot out to the side to come into the triangles. We're going to gently bend over that leg with the upper body, reach the other arm up. Make sure that we've got our foundation here through the legs. They're rooting down, equal weight in both legs here, tipping over. You don't have to go too far. It's, in my opinion, much more important to keep the alignment of your body, to keep straight in your upper body rather than collapse here, to bend from the hips. Keep that alignment and breathe. And from the triangle, we're going to flow into the side angle. So just bend that front knee or bend the right knee. You can come over again, keeping that the body open, reach over your head. And from side angle, we'll come back. If you need to press into your leg to come back, feel free. releasing, bringing that opposite arm up, and you can watch the hand rise up above you. Hold that gaze for a moment if that's comfortable for your neck. And then we'll release and we'll come back up with that other arm, this time to come all the way down. So reach towards your right foot with that arm and realign, recenter your hips to face over the right foot. In the lunge pose, we're going to drop down through the knee. And then we'll press into this front foot and rise up. When you're ready, we're going to lift through the arms, reaching through. Breath here. On your next exhalation, if you want to come over again, it's time to come into a twist. So my right foot is forward, so my left hand is down, right hand on the lower back. Staying here for 1-2 more breaths. You can decide how much you want to sink into your lunge again. And on your next exhalation, release. Come back to center. We're going to lift through this back leg. Pause there for a moment just to really stretch back. Look back, step back into downward facing dog. Bring more weight onto the outer side of your hands and pull straight up with your hips. Don't worry too much about the positioning of your legs. You can even just alternate bending one knee. Just keep pulling up through your upper body. And on your next exhalation, come into plank. Slide your feet back. You can drop down through your knees. Look forward, exhale, and child's pose, hips go back. Breathing in forward with your head in plank and slowly lowering down onto your belly. So bend your elbows, come down, chin comes down, and then on the next breath in, coming up, lifting from the core, lifting your torso from engaging your core muscles. You do that without using the hands, you'll naturally do that. The hands are there to support you while you gather strength in this pose. We open your spine. Only if it feels good is when we start, when you know your lower back is ready and prepared to do this, by making sure it's in alignment. You're on the front of your pelvis. You're engaged through the core, and you keep engaging as you gently push down to lift elbows in, but making sure it feels good. And then you slowly come back down. Resting for a moment here on the earth. And then we'll come back up, pressing the hands. Again, we'll slide back into child's pose. Today, as it's Truth and Reconciliation Day here in Canada, we are honoring the past and beginning to learn from it how to move forward with more compassion, openness, empathy, and understanding. And I think one thing that we can do, as well as listen to the stories of the peoples, of their culture, learning about them, we can also just spend time in nature. The Indigenous culture, they were so in tune with nature, with with the animals. They learned so much. The animals were equals to them, and they respected them in a way that is so inspiring. And yeah, just to learn, just to go out there and take in all the beautiful sights of this beautiful season of fall. Breathe in the air and look at the sky, to feel open, look at the trees, to learn so much about ourselves, our body. And yeah, so a really wonderful way to honor is to just get out there, spend time with our world, and to learn how to respect it better as well. So when you're ready, we're going to come down onto the mat in a lying down position. Actually, right before we lie down, let's just come into a hip opener. So we're gonna bring the soles of the feet together and sit up nice and tall. To help you sit up a little bit taller here in this position, you might bring your hands behind you and opening a little bit through the chest, the shoulders roll back. And then when you're ready, you can come forward slightly. Pausing here. And an interesting thing to notice as we flow through our yoga practice, especially because you might be doing a little bit more external focusing on the video, but I hope that I can talk you through these postures so that you can continue to internally focus. So it's a balancing act, especially when the eyes are open and we are a little bit more in the external world, but how we can continue to stay both outward soft gaze, but also keeping that inward gazing, following the breath, sensing and feeling through your whole body here. So it's really a wonderful practice, obviously, helping us stay more mindful as we go about our day and we're in the outer world a bit more. So just something to mention, especially as we're online here. And you can, hopefully I can just talk you through these postures instead of you having to watch. So when you're ready, come down slowly onto your back. Have anything you need to be comfortable here. I'm just staying in the Baddha Konasana, that butterfly position, feet together, legs wide, if that feels good for you. In this position, you want to check in. Are you on your, is the weight on your the back of your pelvis here? That's really good to keep that here. If it's not, one thing you can do is you can push your feet a little bit more firmly together. Press where the feet are touching your mat, the outer edges of your feet, press that down into your mat. And that'll maybe position you a little bit more onto your sacrum and your pelvis here. And it'll help to open your hips too a little bit more. So we'll stay here for 1 or 2 more breaths. When you're ready, you can slowly push those legs in with your hands. Let's creep the feet in towards the hips a bit more so that we can really use our legs for the next pose. For the bridge pose, we're going to root down through the feet. So right down with your feet in order to rise up from the hips. So you're lifting through your hips, sliding up your back. We'll stay here for another breath or 2. You can bring your arms down. In this position, it gives you space to lengthen right through your spine, all the way up through your neck. So you can bring your chin down just a little bit more. Bring the weight to more of the center point of the back of the head, closer to the base of the occiput, the base of the skull there. We'll hold for one more breath. Keep rooting down through your feet. Imagine you're squeezing out an imaginary ball just slightly. You're holding that ball between your legs, your upper thighs. That'll help keep you engaged here. And then we'll slowly release. As you release, come down slowly, vertebra by vertebra. Feel your whole back sinking down into the floor. The next pose, we'll do the knees to chest. You can bring one knee in and then the other. Wrap your arms around your legs and give them a nice big squeeze in towards your chest. Pausing here for a few breaths. You might notice on the breath that your body moves naturally. Inhaling, the knees might come away from your chest a bit. Exhaling, they might come back. From here, let's widen, keep the feet up, knees in. Widen through the knees and see if you can reach for your feet in any way. Maybe it's just your ankles, your lower legs, maybe it's your big toes. Some people like to put their hands on their feet like this. And we'll keep those knees bent and wide as we come into this happy baby pose. From happy baby, you can reach outwards through your legs, straighten them. You can hold on to the backs of your legs for support there. And then slowly push your legs together if they're wider apart. So the legs are going straight up in the air. Pausing here for a breath. And then we'll bend one knee, bring it down. Bend the other knee, bring the other foot down. And coming back to the floor, let's slowly reach out through the arms. And we'll begin to rock the legs from side to side. Keep both shoulders in contact with the ground as you slowly flow from side to side. And now, if you'd like to incorporate moving with your breath, as you exhale, moving one way, inhale back to center, exhale, shifting the other way, and just keep flowing through here. You can also turn your head in the opposite direction. And this time, as you drop your legs to one side, we can clamshell the legs. So bring the knees together, legs together, and slowly drop over to one side. If that doesn't feel quite right, you might need a little support underneath that bottom leg or in between the knees. Pausing in the reclining twist. And close your eyes and really feel this out through your whole body. Following the rise and fall of your breath. On your next breath in, slowly come back to center and we will drop to the other side. Again, if you want to have a little support, you can put that between your knees or on the bottom, underneath that bottom leg. Sometimes if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can also bring if my legs are moving to the right, I'll bring my right hand to the top side of that leg and just bring it down a little bit more. See how much you can let go in this pose. You might still be holding on to something somewhere in your body. Maybe it's your shoulders. Maybe it's your jaw. And then preparing to come back to center, slowly moving, shifting back. As you shift back, we're going to help realign the spine. So we're just going to do another round of that bridge pose, bringing the feet in, planting the feet down, rising up. And on your exhalation, flowing back down. All right. Before we move into Shavasana, maybe one more pose. And I always like people at the end to see if there's something that comes to you naturally, if there's something you feel like just by all this body sensing that we're doing connects you deeper, and your body will speak to you and tell you what it needs. So maybe there's a pose that you know would feel really good. You just don't overthink it. You just do the first thing that comes to you. And for me, I might just reach my arms over my head a little bit more, stretching more fully there through the arms, opening the shoulders. And then when you're ready, you can release the arms if you're there or wherever you are. But continue to do any last pose that you're doing. Just on your own time now. You're in your own space. And keep your eyes closed. Keep that body sensing, feeling through your whole entire body. And we're going to do that more as we consciously move through, trying to let go even more in this last pose, Shavasana. Now, if you don't feel comfortable straightening right out, support the legs with something. And let the feet come apart and flop outwards. You might just shake the legs a little bit to help them release. Let go of the arms, comfortably heavy. It's nice to bring the arms away from your body a little bit and palms facing up. That's a nice way to release a little bit more, right up through the shoulders. Centering your head. Softening as you let your body sink. Let the weight of your body sink down. Starting with the back of the head, comfortably heavy, releasing. That'll release the neck. Also release the jaw. Teeth apart. Move your awareness down through your body, shoulders, arms, hands, right arm, right hand, sensing there. And then your left arm, left hand. Both arms. Move through your upper body from the shoulders, the chest, the upper back, down. Feel the wave-like movement of your breath. And allow your breath to breathe you now. Creating space for the breath to flow, or softening from within, softening through your middle, your belly, allowing the hips to sink, the back of the hips sinking down. Allow the legs to get more heavy, comfortably heavy, sinking, feet releasing. First the right leg and the right foot. And then the left leg, the left foot. Both legs. Your whole body here, just resting. Taking time to just be here. Not needing anything else. Take this time, we take it to cultivate our connection to the inner aspect of our being, that inner temple where there's an abundant amount of peace, just waiting for us to realize, to connect to as we let go of everything else. You've turned your light of awareness on, and it's shining through your entire body. And instead of identifying with whatever you experience or whatever you feel, what emotions are moving through, what thoughts, you now know that those experiences are all just passing phenomenon. They're not who we really are. You've turned on the connection to your consciousness. You're witnessing these things that are temporary, transient. But what is ever present is your consciousness. That never changes. That never goes away. The witness, that neutral observer in you that can never get caught up in what it sees or hears or feels. Honoring that connection to yourself, the truest self, honoring connection to truth. And then slowly beginning to come out. You can wiggle your toes and your fingers. And begin to stretch out if you'd like to. Stretch out through your arms or your legs, or do any last pose that feels good. And when you're ready, you can come over to your side, pausing there for a moment. And we will slowly transition up. For a moment, again, we'll sit. You can sit in silence for another few seconds. One of the affirmations that can help you stay connected throughout your day. And again, this inspiration from Richard Wagamese is I am one with creation. I am one with creation or creator. So we'll end here with bringing hands to the heart, keeping that heart open. Namaste. And I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you again soon.